Welcome back to another edition of Zero Blog 30, where today Cons has promised the listener that this show will be better than finger banging your spouse. I'm just kidding. We won't start there, Cons.
Jeez Louise. Jeez Louise.
No, that's not what we're going to talk about today at all. Nothing, but it is going to be horny because we're talking about Ashley Madison. Are you okay, Kate?
Yeah.
Not great start.
I feel like we had the context for that start because we were goofing before the show started, but other people might not have the context.
No, that's why people like listening to podcasts, because it's like that one meme where it's like it's me and my buddies hanging out and I just can't say anything.
Okay.
What
You
meme
all right,
is that?
Cons?
Yeah, what meme is that?
You know, the one where like people are sitting by the subway and like three of them are laughing and one of them will have their headphones in. Haven't seen that one? Me and my favorite podcast.
This keeps getting worse.
No, it's getting better.
Describing a meme to us.
Oh my God!
No, you introduce it, Kate. What are we doing today?
Okay. Remember the Ashley Madison leak of 2015?
Mm-hmm.
That horny website, "Life is short, have an affair." That was one of their many slogans.
Right.
Okay. A new documentary is out that is calling out the military in a certain section of it for being horny with their .mil accounts and their real names and all that shit. It kind of rehashed a bunch of stuff that I had forgotten about. And we'll get into it, but that site's still going strong. And I bet there's still plenty of .mil accounts going on it. But we'll talk about that. We'll go over it by the numbers. One of the biggest hacks in history. And a quick update on what's going on in Iran after a helicopter crash killed their leader this past week. It's a mess. It's a big old jumbly mess.
It is a big old jumbly mess. And one that I didn't care about.
You didn't seem like a great guy.
Yeah, I think like that guy deserved to die, probably.
A little bit.
No, definitely. He deserved to die. Things that he's doing is so messed up. Like, who cares he died?
Yeah, a whole bunch of them. But it's like cockroaches. A new one just pops in his place anyway. But anyway, we'll get into it when we get into the show.
That's right. And all that today is going to be brought to you by our good friends at NASCAR. This weekend, me, Kate, and Cons are all headed down to the Coca-Cola 600. I think is it the third time we've done this one or second?
This is the second time
at Coca-Cola 600.
Oh, yeah, we did Daytona.
Third race overall.
Yeah,
it'll be my fourth because I got to go to Sonoma and do the fancy pants NASCAR trip when we went to all the vineyards. Shout to NASCAR.
Got me. I got Talladega. I was going to the Poconos before I even worked at Barstool. I love NASCAR, and I am so excited for this weekend. This will be my first trip away without the kids.
I know, and I had totally expected. I was like, Kate, man, like this is a big one. You did one trip away with us, I think, when we went to Philly. I think.
Yeah.
You did that one, and now this one's the big one. First mother of two trip.
I know, but I also, too, it is really such a special weekend the way NASCAR does it, and I get the tingles. Like, last time I had, like, tears in my eyes. I got but each of the cars is named after a fallen service member, and they invite families, and there's troops there, and helicopters. And remember, we got to stand on the track as the helicopters were coming down, like, blowing our glasses off. And
I think it was the Golden Knights that was doing stuff out there. Maybe it was the 75th. Somebody. Well, they're doing that same kind of stuff this year. Last time we got to hang out with like the Commandant of the Marine Corps and Kyle Carpenter, all kinds of people. But they're doing all kinds of stuff for their veteran weekend this weekend for Memorial Day weekend. It's going to be fantastic. We hope that you tune in and check it out with us and follow along on all of our social channels. But if you want to watch it, it's going to start at 6 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. It's the historic 65th running of the Coca-Cola 600, the longest race of the year. You can watch NASCAR to honor all those who have fought and continue to fight for our freedoms by tuning in to the Coca-Cola 600 on Sunday, May 26th at 6 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. And I am actually looking forward to it. It's a night race.
Yeah.
I think the Daytona 500 we went to, it was the delay, so it went into a little bit of the night. But this one is designed for the nighttime.
I think that's going to be really cool to see this going down under the lights.
To like sitting, I go into the crowd, I'm mingling, I'm mixing. And my favorite people to sit next to are the fans that have the mega cameras, because whenever a crash happens, they're like, snap, 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 snap. And then they're like, look at this. And they have all these crazy up close pictures. And like, I love the NASCAR fans. I'm buzzing, boys. I'm ready to go.
People always say hockey is so different in person, which it is.
Yeah.
Nothing's more different than NASCAR in person.
It's one of the top things I tell people. I'm like, if you've never been to a race, you don't follow racing, whatever, that all changed for me the second I went to a race.
Would be a good place to go if you have bronchitis, to loosen up the old phlegm.
Oh, yeah.
Your chest starts to vibrate.
Well, also, too, you can bring your own hoagies in if you want to.
Oh,
You can bring your own
that
coolers.
aspect is great. Don't get me
I
wrong,
even love, like, walking in the infield and seeing everybody's setups at the RV. Like, I'm
dude, these people's setups are unbelievable. They're so choice. And the RVs that these folks have are unbelievable. Unlike anything you really see at any other sporting event.
You could have a $200 RV or a $2 million RV, and they'll be right next to each other. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
But chaps, it's a good point about hockey. I think casual sports fans watch hockey. They're like, cool, I got it. You put the puck in the net. Okay. NASCAR, I don't think there's sometimes people you don't like, okay, they go around the track and whoever finishes first. Okay. But when you go and see it in person, I think that's part of the appreciation is you understand that there's a lot more than just going in circles.
Dude, not just that, but when we got to go tour it with Austin Dillon and like that group, and we went to their factory
RCR
or like their
racing,
their
garage.
Their garage.
Yeah.
Dude, that's where we first came across tungsten.
Oh, yeah, tungsten. We got to hold a block of tungsten before the Tungsten Club here at Barstool.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, make sure that you tune into that. Again, it's Sunday, May 26th at 6 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. There's going to be a big crew from Barstool going down there. Me, all of us, are Large and Spider and a whole bunch of social folks. There'll be a bunch of us.
Look for me against the fence. I'm going to be, look for me on TV. Top. I'm going to be Waffle Belly.
Nice. Oh, Waffle Top or Waffle Belly?
A little bit of both.
Good for you, Kate.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's get into the actual show today, which is going to be a little horny.
Okay. Saturday night. I live near a liquor store, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I never go over there. I'm a busy lady. I got kids. Saturday night, the weather in Chicago was fine.
It was banging.
The kids were asleep. I said, I'm going to walk over to the liquor store. I'm going to get a bottle of Chardonnay. And I'm going to put up I'm a documentary lady. That's like what I really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I get home. I pop open my Chard. Who do I see? Ashley Madison. A big documentary. It was like a 3-part series about that mega leak from 2015, and I said, this is the one.
Mm-hmm.
Poured myself a big old plastic wine glass full of Chard, sat down, bam. I like vaguely remember it.
Yeah.
I had just gotten out of the military at that point. I was like in college trying to keep my head above water. So like it was a blip on my radar, really. Hindsight, my husband probably was on it at the time. Really, probably was. But anyway, absolutely. I should have been more concerned. I should have been more concerned.
Yeah.
But it followed certain couples that had been called out in the scandal. Like, do you remember there was this mega viral, because family vloggers, that was the era when they just started going mega viral.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the family vlogger couple where he was like hiding in the bathroom and he's like, okay, I got it, guys. And the toilet's full of pee, and he dips the pregnancy test in the toilet. And he's like, I'm the first man ever to tell his wife she's pregnant. And he goes in the kitchen. He's like, honey, I was hiding in the bathroom. I got your pee out of the toilet. You're pregnant. Do you remember that?
No, but that sounds stupid.
I remember that because I remember being like, it went mega. Like, I'm talking, if you looked it up on YouTube right now, like 17 million views. Like,
because that wouldn't work, right? It's too diluted.
Everyone believed it. They were on news stations were coming to their house. They were on like Good Morning America. It went crazy viral. And they were the super Christian family vlogger family. What did you know? That guy was banging everybody.
But wait, before we go into him banging people, that wouldn't work, right?
I know. That's what I said.
It's too diluted.
No. So no. So I'm only an episode and a half into it. But from what I've watched, didn't he actually not end up going through with any of it, and he was only just messaging with people?
Oh, spoiler alert!
Sorry, spoilers. Sorry.
Oh, we're gonna get there. I want to just talk about the piss.
Yeah. So anyway, but no cons. That's what it seems like in the beginning, friend.
Oh, all right, even better. I can't wait. No, I fell asleep last night.
Spoilers, everybody.
Yeah, what are we doing
sorry,
here?
I'm
What
sorry.
are we doing here?
Spoilers. But don't worry, there's another big development after that I won't tell you. But anyways. Spicy stuff. So it followed like all these people who had been called out on it and what has happened to their lives since then and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, to give a reminder before I get to the military part, here's the numbers. Here's some of the numbers and because I do remember this. It was called, the hacker group was called the Impact Team.
Yeah.
And it was an old school style hack attack where
the Impact Team.
The Impact
Bunch
Team.
of losers.
The workers showed up to work that day. Remember in Jurassic Park where they go to access a computer and Newman's like,
Yeah.
That's like, those kind of hacks only happen in movies. That's not the way hacking really, that's what this hacker did. Everyone got to work that day, turned on their computers, and there was a message. All they could get was a message on their screen that was like, guess what, motherfuckers? I have all your info and your whole world's about to go down.
And if you're like a horny Christian family blogger, that's like worst case scenario.
Well, so that's what it was talking about. The news of the leak, then like a week later, it was like, if you don't shut your site down, they gave them a timeline, like in a week, we're going to tell the press we have all the info. The CEO refused to shut the site down. A week later, across the news, it was this mega bomb. A hacker has names, email addresses, nude photos, all the preferences. Like, are you into getting piss in your mouth?
Oh, hell yeah.
They got that. And if you're on this site, it's going to be released. So millions and millions and millions of people around the world were like, oh, fuck. Oh my God. This vlogger, the family vlogger dude talks about, he was on at a family vlogger conference with his wife. And the whole time he's checking his phone, like super paranoid. He's like, any moment now, my life is about to implode. And how everybody was just waiting for it, which is fucking crazy. 37 million user accounts.
That's 1/10 of the population of the United States.
37 million people around the globe were waiting on the edge of their seats to see if their world was about to get
One
blown
out of
the fuck
every
up.
10 Americans.
Names.
That's so many.
Names, street addresses, phone numbers, birthdays, relationship status, what they want. Like, you want to poop on my chest? I like getting this done, blah, blah, blah. Like that kind of shit.
Call that a Cleveland steamer in the biz.
And so on. A little less than half were in the U.S. So of those 37 million, nearly half was in the U.S.
God.
9.6 million credit card transactions, which name, address, email address, amount paid. And women did not need to pay Ashley Madison. It was only the men had to. Guess which, in the Western Hemisphere, guess which city had the most people, though?
I would never have guessed this, but I just read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read it
Very
too.
Catholic. Very Catholic. Sao Paolo, Brazil was the horniest, the biggest cheaters. Next came New York, then Sydney, Australia, then Toronto. With Calgary at the
Sydney
top.
does feel like a very horny city.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe it's just because I've watched.
Australians are built different.
Oh, yeah, they are. And I've watched the Pacific so many times that I know that they were just doing a lot of fucking over there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But and there was 2 big leaks overall. But here was another thing that got leaked about it. So, you go to an arcade and you buy 100 tokens. And when you run out of tokens, you have to buy more. That's how Ashley Madison worked. I
didn't know that. I thought it was just like a subscription. You paid and that was that.
Right.
Like an old school Subway card where you get like a free foot long after a while?
Sort of. Free 5 inches. Nice. But you paid for, say I bought 100 tokens, and every conversation with the woman, say I wanted to like 50 women, I'm horny, I'm scrolling the site. Each like is like a token. Each conversation, like each sentence you send is a token. Each whatever.
It's like touch tunes at the bar. You buy tokens, you play your music.
So say you start having a conversation with a woman and it's going well and you run out of tokens, you rush to buy more tokens. Well, I'm going to tell you a little story here. Guess what was actually happening here? There is a woman, she was the stripper who broke up the Jesse James Sandra Bullock marriage. Dang. Hottie patati covered in tats.
I used to love West Coast Choppers.
Oh, yeah. Well, she was a dancer, right? And she's dancing at the club one night. And this guy shows up with a bunch of gifts and flowers for her, looking at her like he knew her deeply. And she's like, thanks for the gifts, I guess. Same thing happens with another guy the next week. Same thing happens with another guy the next week. Who were all these men, these millions and millions of men paying tokens to talk to?
Somebody that they were getting catfished by somebody else.
Oh. Bots. An enormous amount of the women were not real.
Wow.
Were not real.
Not for nothing. It's a pretty good business model. You just got to freaking sign up and get all these gifts and money sent to you.
But you think too, this put women in danger because they were using some of the accounts were actual
real women.
Yeah.
It's before the days of AI.
Yeah. So tons of dudes paying. Anyways, amongst the leak, when that finally came out. So one, I think there's some illegal stuff with doing that to people.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine.
Two, another thing.
But is that? Like, do you think that the laws are advanced enough to have something like that?
I think so. This sparked a bunch of, I believe, like.
Oh, I'm sure, but at the time,
I'm sure you could interpret certain laws. Like, there's probably ways you could get fraud going in this, and
maybe, but I think
perpetrated against you.
if it doesn't hit the tenets of the law, like I wrote a blog yesterday, very different but similar, that there was a fella that was in Korea that got caught in a garage finger banging a pink Tesla for 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't his own car, but he was doing like licking on it and fingering it and stuff.
Oh.
And they were like, even though the behavior was deeply disturbing because he was like grinding on the hub wheel too,
yeah,
like hubcap, they were like, there's nothing that we could do because it's not a law in the books. So maybe this is
at least. I don't know.
Maybe this is like finger banging a Tesla.
I better go check my Buick. A lot. Somebody might have a thing for 2017 Buicks filled with old goldfish. Anyways, another thing that came out, a lot of people thought, because again, not the early days of the internet, but like that was the first, like dating sites were kind of a newer thing, especially one like this one. When you logged onto the site, like you see all these little certificates at the bottom, like, and it looks like an award and it's like security award and this and that. They had this huge thing at the bottom of images that looked like medals, almost like military medals, bragging about all the different security things they had. Some lower level dude there just made them up in Photoshop. They meant nothing. They had no security levels. They had not like nothing. But
that doesn't mean anything either. Like that's not against the law.
No, it wasn't. So anyway, all these people, even very smart men, saw those little medals and were like, I'm safe and secure.
I'm safe.
Yeah, but you're not smart. No one's smart when they're horny.
Bigwigs.
Bingo.
You're just not. Like if you are horny, your
judgment's impaired.
Way more mistakes than you will.
Oh yeah.
Do you know how many people have gone to gentlemen's clubs and spent so much money and immediately regretted it because they weren't thinking straight?
Yep.
Yeah. I bought a stripper a whole sectional couch by accident once.
What?
What?
It's a whole thing. It was. Anyway.
No.
It doesn't matter.
Wait, what?
What?
Remember when I had that dancer come on the show on the Yak?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And I said, if I win this, it was to help me promote a contest. And I said, if I win the contest, I said it in a moment of like joie de vivre or whatever. I was like, you can have it all. I said it as she was dancing on me, jokingly. Well, I win the contest, which was 10 grand. And I just don't ever, I'm like, I hope she didn't hear that because I was like joking, whatever. I start getting blown up. Like a month or two later, I start getting blown up. Like, where's my money? Where's my money? And I was like, can we like settle out of court with this? Like, can we settle this, whatever? And she's like, buy me this very, very expensive sectional couch.
You got shaken down by a stripper. How much did you pay for a couch?
I did. Long story short, between
taxes. No, I want the long story.
How much did you pay?
We don't need the short
couch?
Story.
Between taxes getting taken out and the couch, I ended up like barely making any money from that t-shirt contest win.
How much was
I'd rather not. And plus I had paid her the day she came. I paid her in full. I gave her a great tip. So between that, the taxes and the sectional couch, which I hope she's enjoying to this day, I didn't really make any money on that contest.
Oh my God.
People don't realize. I'm a woman of my word. If I didn't get her this couch, I wouldn't be sleeping at night. I'd be thinking about it.
I agree with that.
That's true.
Knowing Kate, I know she wouldn't have slept a wink.
I was like, she did say that. She did say that.
Wow.
Anyways.
Yep.
Back to this thing. So you're right. When people make mistakes.
Wait, are you saying, circling back, we said that you make horny mistakes.
I wasn't horny.
You were horned up by the stripper to the point that you bought her a couch.
I would say I was horny adjacent.
That's the most corporal shit you've ever done.
I was horny adjacent.
Kate's so horny, she slipped back into the barracks real quick.
I better have she better take good care of it. So she better not be eating Cheetos on that fucking thing.
Oh, you know she is.
Yeah. Kate, you bring me back to so many memories though of dealing with soldiers, and I forgot just like how did this, these guys' brains work, and you're bringing me back to understanding how they worked.
You end up with a sectional.
That would have been a lot of diapers for my kids.
Yeah, it would have been.
Anyway, smart people too. There was congressmen. Various Fortune 500 bigwigs.
Exactly. We've established.
No shit. Microsoft, Cisco, Apple, Bank of America, and perhaps the most shocking in the leak, 3 accounts using the Vatican.com email address.
One of them was not the Pope at the Vatican.com.
Definitely not the Pope at Vatican.com. But anyways, on to the troops, because in this documentary, they talk in the leak, over 15,000 .mil and .gov addresses from the U.S. If I were horny in the military and I wanted to cheat on my spouse, I would not use my .mil or .gov address, even as a complete moron saying this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you make up a new Google address and you use that and you bury it deep somewhere. So I was like kind of shocked by that because it was high-ranking military officials. It was high-ranking government officials, and I'm sure a shit ton of Lance coolies, but it was people who should have known better.
And the credit card thing, if you're married, that could get you caught because they don't adjust it. Like, credit card companies do not allow you to have fake, like, whatever it is being billed to it.
Oh,
like,
no.
There's some people that like one of my friends, his wife very much against pornography.
Yeah.
And she found his credit card statement and it said from OnlyFans, who it was, OnlyFans, who it was. And it was all these different OnlyFans charges. And he was like, I would have never thought that it showed up as
exactly
OnlyFans,
as
like what it was.
Well, when you get paid by them, it's Phoenix International. Just so you
know. See, why don't
well,
they
so
put
that's
that
what
on
you
there?
think, because like if you've ever used an ATM at a gentleman's club, it comes up as something entertainment, or it comes something innocuous that wouldn't necessarily raise red flags, as opposed to ashleymadison.com.
Well, another funny thing was ashleymadison.com had, by the way, the site's still going strong and it's like bigger than ever. The hack. This is like what's wrong with us.
It blew it up since the documentary came out.
It was just like good press, like any press is good press, is whatever. But they have a customer service section, and he said wives would call with their husbands standing right there and say, "Explain this charge to me on the bill." And the Ashley Madison customer service department had a script that was like, "Oh, we Ashley Madison, or like some of these sites are run by this billing company, but this billing company does like all kinds of commerce, all kinds of anything. So it could be anything. It has nothing to, like, they had this whole chart that got the husband off the hook type deal.
Smart.
They had a script for that. And anyway.
And everything they said, technically, it wasn't a lie because it was true.
And you're not required to give the truth as Ashley Madison. You could lie to him all day.
Right.
But anyway, so I start Googling after I see this and I hear this thing about 15,000 military members and blah, blah, blah. I go to Google and I click on news and I type in like U.S. military troops, Ashley Madison, all the keywords to see what has been written about this since then. Articles came out when the news came out in August of 2015. That week, there was a ton of articles. It's never been talked about ever since. And the first week the news came out, the Pentagon was like, your asses are all grass. You guys are all fucked. But this article came out 3 weeks after the hack, 3 weeks after U.S. troops were told they could face disciplinary action if they were found among those hacked on Ashley Madison. The services appear ready to drop the affair. So far, there are no reports of soldiers, sailors, Marine, or airmen even being reprimanded for signing up for the site. An Army spokesman said signing up for websites not a crime, and the worst offense anyone might be guilty of is unauthorized use of a government email.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, how is that against the law?
Well, there was no follow-up to a question asking whether soldiers or civilians with security clearances who registered with the site might be more vulnerable to blackmail as a result. Mm-hmm. That's if I was an enemy.
It's a very true thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's very easy to get. If I know you have a picture of me getting piss in my mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Buddy, I might have a little problem with that. I might. Anyway.
But also, too, like when you go to somebody with a guilty conscience, and even beyond just cheating on your spouse, like they've done anything wrong, if you insert just the littlest bit of doubt or the fact that you might have information that can incriminate them, and it could be like, I walk up to someone like, oh, dude, I totally hacked your phone. I don't know how to hack a phone. But if I introduce that, it gets you thinking and worrying like, what if he actually somehow hacked my phone and has this information and he's going to tell my wife?
Especially Ashley Madison, where it's like a lot of sexting conversations.
Yeah.
I like, hey, put my butthole up in Times Square. Like, I don't give a shit anymore. Like, I just give a, if you found, I haven't sexted in forever, but if you found an old sext convo of mine and you put that out there, because none of us know what the fuck we're saying. We're just making it up. Like, yeah,
I would bet
baby,
that
blah, blah, blah. I would die.
If us, for example, like one of us that writes here, like try to write a little bit of comedy action every now and then, if you put up all your old sex, people would think they were hilarious.
Oh yeah.
It'd be instant.
Look at Maroon 5 guy got roasted for his bad sex.
I mean, fucking Ray Allen.
Yeah, Ray Allen.
There you go.
You're right, Cons. Like whenever you have somebody just a little bit shook that they might have information that you're fucked, like the look on who was that comedian? Chris D'Amelio?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Chris D'Elia.
Yeah. So do you remember that podcast that he was on where he found out that you could take screenshots of Snapchat?
Yep, and his face.
Yeah. So they're like, he's like, whoa, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, because you could do like screen record or screenshots of anything that you write in Snapchat. So there'll be like a record of it. And the look on his face completely drops. And then like 2 weeks later, all those things come out about
Talking to high school girls, classic. But anyway, so you would think it would be like a bigger, I thought there'd be more follow through on it because it makes especially security clearance troops pretty vulnerable. Basically, nothing ever happened. And also too, not to add on to that, Article 134. In the civilian world, you might blow your marriage up. In the military world, cheating is a crime, fellas.
Yeah,
it's a crime.
We've said that before, but that's important to note here.
You could get punished under the UCMJ. And so I thought there would be more stories, more fallout, more not. Because let's do it by the numbers here too. Coming in at top was Army.mil with nearly 7,000 addresses.
Attaboy, Cons.
Navy.mil number 2, 1,665. Only 809 in the USMC. Huh. And then,
get those numbers up.
I was a little embarrassed, to be honest.
I'll just say this. Based on those numbers, that was probably large part as to why nothing happened, because the amount of work that it would take to prosecute all of those people, I mean, you'd still be doing it today.
Yeah.
Even VA employees were on there, va.gov, all that stuff.
And then what's the, like they said, like the lawyers say, like, what's the worst thing that can happen to these people? Like, you don't know that they committed a crime, that the terrible use of email. Like, how often does that happen? Every day?
Mm-hmm. Also too, it was interesting, like on the heat maps where it was hottest, it was where military bases are across the country. The Air Force Times had an article. The U.S. Air Force Academy had 464 accounts in a population of 3,711. 12.5% of the Air Force Academy was on AshleyMadison.com. Anyways, I thought that was crazy.
How? That's students, right? Or like
staff, students, like
staff would have. No, wait. I'm trying to remember if you were
like when you applied to go to the Air Force Academy, what happened?
No, like if you're stationed there, I'm pretty sure you have an academy email address, even if you're in the military. I don't remember, but I will say if you're a student, you have I had an @usma.edu email address. So if it was airforce.mil, it was probably
they were probably airforceacademy.mil, not edu.
Yeah. Right. Sure. Yeah, because you're not allowed to be married at any of the academies or have a child. Actually.
Honestly, I wish things were a little more horny than this case.
Yeah, it wasn't as horny as that. The guy, the CEO, Noel Biederman, his big selling point for Ashley Madison, he would take his wife on talk shows and be like,
yeah, that was
I
crazy.
created this site. I don't cheat on my wife. I'm a good family man. I'm all about monogamy, but like some people, like whatever, blah, blah, blah. Turned out he was cheating on her big time and asking escorts for like 18-year-olds and like barely legal, all kinds of like creepy shit and just total creep. But anyways, it's a really interesting documentary. Highly recommend watching it. And there's a bunch of couples on there that
I'm looking forward to finishing it. It's been good so far. I reiterate this. I think I've said this recently. Aside, you take out the fact that it's just wrong to cheat on your partner, your spouse, whatever. The amount of lying and the guilt you are riddled with and scared that you could get caught, you put all that together. How is any of this enjoyable? I don't get it. And listen, there was one couple in the documentary, like there's some couples who have agreements, they're married and they can go do whatever they want with other people. And that's just a different way of life, and that's okay. But for the people who have a spouse that wouldn't be okay with this, I don't see how this is enjoyable. But maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting conversations on cheating and all that stuff and like why people do it and blah, 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 blah. At this point, with my broken back, go off, Pat. Go have a good time. Get your HJs from somebody else. arms are exhausted.
If you got to go out of town, make sure that your house is safe with Simply Safe. Whenever you're traveling, do concerns back home? Do they nag you? Do they lock you up? Did you leave a window open? Did you do this? Did you do that? You need to make sure that you know with Simply Safe. That's why I recommend investing in Simply Safe Home Security today. For your award-winning security and peace of mind wherever you are this summer, you're going to be all over the place. Do you guys have big plans summer? Any traveling besides NASCAR?
Definitely doing the Jersey Shore for a week, as per usual. Sea Isle City.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there the week that Jason Kelsey's doing a big party in Sea Isle.
Oh, so shit. That'll be a good time. What about you, Cons? Any summer trips?
Let me see. I'm looking at my calendar. Oh, well, actually,
I don't care that much. Simply Safe was named Best Home Security System of 2024.
I was going to tell you about my trip to Chicago, but I guess I won't.
All right. By the U.S. News and World Report, and Newsweek ranked it the #1 best customer service and home security. With Simply Safe, your whole system is your home is in protection. Sensors designed to detect the break-ins, fires, floods, and more. Simply Safe offers a variety of indoor and outdoor cameras and is backed by 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day, with no contracts and a 60-day money-back guarantee. My favorite thing about having, even if it's not like home security, obviously it's great and like to make sure that your home protected. But if you also just like messing with your kids, having these cameras is fantastic. We had like 5 or 6 kids spend the night on Mega Couch in our basement on Saturday night. And whenever I go down there, shut the basement door, I'm like, hey, midnight, you guys need to turn off the lights and start like winding things down. And they're like, yes, sir. Like all the like typical kid responses. And I called that. I look back at 12:15 and the lights are back on. The TV's back on because we're like two floors up. Can't hear anything. So the Xbox is back on.
Yeah.
And so the camera has like a little speaker in it. And I'm like, Cardi, you little turd. I said, turn it off. They're like, oh, God. So if you want peace of mind from a family perspective, do that because there's no contracts. There's a 60-day money-back guarantee. Simply Safe has given to me and many of our listeners peace of mind. I want you to have it too. Get 20% off of any new Simply Safe system when you sign up for the Fast Protect monitoring. Visit simplysafe.com/ZBT. That's simplysafe.com/ZBT. There's no safe like Simply Safe. All right, let's get into the dead press.
Okay, let's get into it. Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi, the country's foreign minister, and others have been found dead at the site of a helicopter crash after an hours-long search through a foggy mountainous region of the country's northwest. And I saw reports first coming out about this that saying they just had from Iranian press saying just had a hard landing. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, he's dead. When they're like, everything's fine, nothing to see here. It's like, oh no, they're big time dead.
Yeah.
Early reports of the crash suggest the helicopter was flying in a foggy mountainous region of the country's northwest. Poor weather conditions are a leading cause of helicopter or rotor aircraft crashes. As we all know, Kobe Bryant and that crash and everything like that. I feel like at this point, say I was supposed to do like a helicopter tour of somewhere and it was even the lightest bit foggy out, I'd be like, no. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Also, what are you going to see if it's foggy out? It's like totally defeats the purpose.
And I used to be so pissed when we had to change. Like that was so common for when I would do in Iraq, like where we would have to go like Little Birds and stuff. Missions getting canceled at the last moment. You look outside, you're like, it's not that sandy. Now I'm glad that they're like, nah, man, it's a little too sandy. I'm glad.
Absolutely the fuck not.
Makes you appreciate even more though, too. All the Coast Guard helicopters that go out in ridiculous weather.
Oh, yeah.
Like, have no business being out there.
Absolutely. The best of the best. 28% of all fatal helicopter crashes, weather is a factor. I feel like, too, I don't think I would do. Like, all the big cities have the helicopter tour. Like, I don't think I ever want to go in one again. In the military, I was in helicopters, but
I think you would. If somebody came in and they were like, Kate, we got a helicopter, let's go out. I think you'd be like, and go out there.
I like legit don't think I would.
Really?
Like, I'm never going to go skydiving. Don't have any desire.
Yeah, that probably
kill
wouldn't be
me.
great.
But,
yeah.
No, I don't think I want to ever go in a helicopter. I don't even think, like, if I had a friend who had a pilot's license and was like, come up and do a lap around the city with me. I'd be like,
hey, Marco?
No. Yeah. No, thank you. It's unlikely we'll know with certainty anytime soon what precisely happened to the helicopter, But needless to say, tinfoil hats were on immediately. People were like, it was Israel. It was an inside job. It was this. It was that. It was this. It was that. It was probably the weather and whatever. But there's a million different theories going on. The protege of Iran's supreme leader, Abraham Raisi.
No, they're saying that president was the protege of Iran.
Yeah, the protege was sworn in on Thursday. So that completes the hardliners' dominance of all branches of government in the Islamic Republic. So people were celebrating this guy's death, and now it's just going to get worse, it sounds like. So
yeah, and they have to have the new election within 50 days.
Election.
And this is coming off of a year when they would have expected it to be like a record low turnout like it was in their last election that they had. So they're, because of whoever the supreme leader is, that essentially is who is going to be the president. Last time that they had, it was like 85-7 or something like that, the percentages of who won. So that this guy that just died was going to be the president again. And now there's some hardliners that are worried that this will actually make people turn out the vote for the folks that had like the big turmoil in 2021. So they're saying that might cause some of the unrest to come back.
Little unrest.
Yeah. Unrest to come back. But I think from like my typical American perspective, do you guys often feel of other countries as having like a unified thought in what they believe about their leaders?
I think it's portrayed as such, but I don't think they do.
Right. I think as I've gotten older, you realize that there's nuance everywhere in the world. And like if the current president were to die, I think you would probably have 40% of the country that was sad, maybe 30% of the country that was sad, 40% that was happy, and then you have like the rest is somewhere ambivalent. And I think that that's probably the case no matter which U.S. president it was over the last 30 or 40 years.
I think that happy is much lower because I do have faith in humanity that even the people who hate our current president or hate the previous president, I still think at their core, they hate their politics and they love to jump on Facebook and scream things. But I think at their core, I think they'd be more towards ambivalent. I think they'd be like, oh, that's sad. That's too bad. Like they wouldn't be going the other direction and more in the way that you saw people mourn, I think, when JFK was assassinated. But I don't think it's as high. Maybe I'm giving people too much credit, but I don't think people would be happy.
You think happy?
Oh yeah, I think there'd be like parties in the street this time around. But
that's
I will
terrible.
say
for either candidate.
For either candidate, like honest to God. But I do think you're right. And one of the shows that kind of like opened my mind up to that was Anthony Bourdain going to the different countries and like getting to, because when he goes to, I believe it's Iran, the people couldn't say what they were feeling. And one of the journalists who even took him around ended up getting jailed for a while after, even though he didn't say necessarily anything against the government. But you could tell that the vibe was like very different than what we think from what we see in the news of, like a country is not its government.
And I'm sure that he had to make those decisions because of the places that he went, like not just there, but like, what should I put into the show? Because
you don't want to put people in danger.
Yeah, that's got to be a huge consideration to what you put out there.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure they gave people the final set, like, are you okay with this before blah blah blah. But,
hopefully, yeah.
But yeah, it's just, you're right. People aren't their country. So I saw Iranians celebrating his death online, especially women who I saw 2 daughters whose mom had been killed during the revolution there with the women's revolution, all that stuff, that were cheersing with champagne and blah blah blah. So anyway, it's a big old mess.
All right, what else? What do we got from?
That's my foreign policy expertise.
What do we got on beard stuff?
Okay, so U.S. Army what the fuck moments. I love that account. I feel like they're really good at keeping up. One post they had over the weekend that makes me so fucking pissed off. Every single time it makes me feel like rage inside. They had this post of like 10 different photos of, it was fucking horrendous. The Army unit, do you know 3680A? Do you know what that is, Cons? Where that is?
It's 36 Air Defense Artillery. I don't know where it is off the top of my head.
They had to move into a barracks over the weekend that was one of the worst, and we've seen some bad stuff, one of the worst places I have ever seen.
Looks like it's in Fort Sill, which is...
When I talk about mold... And half the barracks rooms were filled with old uniforms that were just covered in mold, holes everywhere, leaks everywhere. It was so disgusting. Like, I would be beside myself if I had to spend one night there. And I remember, who was that fucking army officer was like, if the troops had more discipline, they wouldn't have more.
Like the lieutenant general or some shit.
I wanted to be like, fuck you. You go stay here this weekend and you lick the wall. Have a good lick of the wall.
It's a little bit about, oh my God, I just pulled it up. Holy shit.
It is horrendous. And if you read the caption, the troops were like, hey, leadership, this is really bad. Our troops like really shouldn't be staying here. And the higher ups were like, basically like, go fuck yourselves, too bad.
Wow. These videos, like, it looked, if you went to a condemned place, like if you did one of those walkthroughs where it's like Fallout, you know, where you look at what's going on in there, it is horrific.
And this is where it's shocking to me. There's leadership. As soon as you're one up above the lowest rank, you're a leader on some level. There's hundreds and hundreds of leaders in this unit who are refusing to. Now, I haven't followed up with this, so maybe now this is the chance for a real leader to stand out. Even for a sergeant to be like, everyone else can do it. My guys are not fucking staying there this weekend. Somebody better figure it out. Like, I was like beside myself when I saw it. It's so crazy. And it keeps happening over and over. And the higher ups keep doing press where they're like, we're making changes now. That's not happening anymore. And it's bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's just good PR, but it's not the reality. And troops are shitting. Like,
and also if you're a leader worth your salt, like I wouldn't have come to this city and come to a house, put my family in a house that I didn't see.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I would think you would hope that would be the same thing for troops. Like if you're a commander, you're not going to go let your people get moved until you go check out the facility.
Absolutely. Yeah, or at least there's usually ADVON, an advanced party that goes ahead first and checks things out. And gets set up.
Like either way, there needs to be a check.
Yeah. Also, there was a change. I don't know exactly what it was, but there was a change, again, relaxing the beard standards for people who need chits. And we've talked about it here, but African-American males typically have a tougher time shaving. There's something with the hair and skin texture that causes like really painful bumps. I know I saw it when I was in the Corps, and it's incredibly painful. And so it's a little more lax now to get a shave chit. And
I was with one of my buddies this weekend, lieutenant colonel.
Yeah.
And he definitely had beard growth. That was not like, okay, he just took leave yesterday.
Did you lock his ass up, put him at parade rest?
No, of course not. No. So he's got a full beard. And with beards, I just don't get it. So how's it any different than a haircut? If you keep it within standards, what difference is that than the haircut standard? If it looks neat.
U.S. Army What the Fuck Moments was talking about, and what a lot of troops in the comments were agreeing with, was other people who got shave chits say it was like a white male got a shave chit and kept his beard neat and whatever, and he progressed fine. But there's like actual evidence. If you look at that black males with shave chits who had beards got promoted less often, were looked at as shitbags, as lazy, as just doing it, whatever. And there's like kind of a history of racism with this shave chit thing going on. And like, go read the comments on it yourself. Go look at it yourself. And he started posting, troops started sending him who have beards. Here's a picture of me with my beard. Here's the job that I do. I'm a high-ranking guy. I do wonderful things for the military, and I have a beard. I'm a black troop with a beard, and blah, blah, blah. And the comments were so triggered. The people in the comments were like so upset by this beard. Anyway, it's just ridiculous. But they kind of proved the point.
But those same people, you turn around and show them an OD team, a special forces team or a SEAL team out in combat, all have beards like, oh, it's so badass. What?
Or those same people who are complaining about it, you show them like, hey, we're switching to a new type of poncho liner and they're up in arms.
Yeah.
Like people that are going to be up in arms are going to be up in arms about whatever they are. My favorite comments in some of those posts were like, well, maybe they just concerned about safety. Ever heard of gas masks not being able to seal? And then it would be like certain people were like, oh, well, actually, that research has been all the other NATO countries
have beards and their gas masks.
It's the same fucking. Yeah. I'm convinced that it'll be the same conversations in the veteran communities that we have right now in the next 20, 30 years for sure.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. All right, let's move on to some save rounds and alibis. Cons, we'll start with you. Big promise at the beginning of the show. Big promise.
Yes, I got a DM from one of our listeners. I hope I can use his name. If not, oh well. No, one of our listeners, Trevor Hansen, he sent me a DM. Trevor, thank you for your support and listening. My girlfriend of 4+ years is the daughter of a Rakkasan, 187th Airborne, loves military history and ZBT, and has been listening from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Big fan. And he sent me this last week, but he's like, because we had already recorded, I'm going to pop the question tonight. Oh. We always listen to ZBT on Wednesday mornings. So assuming that he popped the question, Trevor, Maggie, congratulations.
Whoa.
We appreciate your support and best of luck on your impending nuptials.
And we're also assuming that she was going to say yes.
Oh
yeah, seriously. Yeah, we're making a lot of assumptions here. I hope that all shook out the way it's supposed to.
That's amazing. So. Awesome. Ignore our whole first segment about Ashley Madison. Don't worry about
please,
that.
Don't ignore it. Take heed.
Take heed. Take heed. No, this guy sounds like a stand-up guy.
Oh, yeah, this guy fucks too.
Oh, big time.
I bet he's
Trevor Hansen.
Big time. Good job, Trevor.
Chris Hansen.
Slanging that dick
Congratulations, though. That's awesome. That's
absolute
so cool.
wrench.
So that was great. I just wanted to give them a shout out.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, not to bring it down, but did you guys see that story about the guy who worked at Bank of America? I think he was an investment banker, Green Beret, who passed away.
Yes.
You know, he was working 100-hour weeks. And it was just really unfortunate. And two things. I was talking to a guy who knew somebody on his team, and he said he was, the best guy. His name was Leo Lucanus III. Mm-hmm. He was only 35 years old. He had a wife, 2 children, I believe. Very sad.
Yep.
But part of the problem was because he had this work ethic coming out of Green Berets. Anytime he was asked to do something by anybody on his team, he never said no. He just kept taking on more and more work, which
also,
led to these. Go ahead.
That was the culture of the place, was that you
so that's my
really
other point.
Say no.
So that was my point. In the finance world, similar to what we've said about the military, when we've said, well, it sucked for me, so it needs to suck for you, and you need to break that cycle. And I think you're seeing that a little bit maybe start to happen in the finance world, where all these, MDs and higher, well, this is what I had to do when I was in your position. That needs to stop. And, I'm not going to get into, the whole culture of the finance community, but, if you have a Green Beret who seemingly was in, good shape, good health, dropping, and succumbing to the stresses.
Well, it said they had him working. Career. They had him working over 100 hours a week.
Yeah.
With a wife and kids.
I mean, that's 7 days a week.
Yep.
That is absolutely preposterous.
Yep. Well, it was so bad that these finance guys, I think, are in the works of like starting a union to try and defend themselves. Because it's crazy, and it's like a terribly sad story because the guy
very, very sad. But I mean, like, it just reminded me of when we've said how, in the military, people often think that things need to be hard because they were hard for them, and as opposed to evolving. So anyway, sad story. Yep.
Kate.
I don't think so. Again, I'm like really excited for NASCAR. I can't wait to be out and about. I love seeing all the different setups and
over under SIGs.
I'm going to have probably 2. I think I'll have 2. Oh. Yeah. I had one the other night.
Oh. Yeah. Did you go out the other night?
I went to a comedy show. There's a Barstool comedy show once a month here in Chicago at the Laugh Factory. And I went because a bunch of the yackers were on it. And I went to see it. I had 3 beers. And outside a bar, someone was like, have a cigarette. I said, okay, I'm gonna. I did. And then as I was getting in my lift home, I was home.
Every time she talks about having a cigarette, her face lights up.
It was delicious. It was delicious. Then as I was getting in the lift home, a guy with a huge bag of Taco Bell came walking by with a Baja Blast, like the most kind. He was like, you want this? I was like, yes. And I yoink, and I got in the cab and I went home. It was great. All it takes is give me just a couple hours a week.
Kate, I was going to say, I feel like,
and I felt like a new human being afterwards.
I think you need to make an effort to plan more of those sorts of nights. I'm not saying you need to be going out every Friday and ripping it up, but plan a few more of those nights for yourself.
Well, buddy, I'm going to NASCAR.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
My tires are going to be smoking.
What time do you leave?
I think not until the evening. So I don't get there till late. the night before, and then I leave like crack of dawn the day after. But I'm still excited to have that one day in the sun at NASCAR. I'm pumped. Yeah,
it's gonna be
quiet
great.
airport meal.
Weather.
Oh,
It's gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot, but good weather otherwise. It's gonna be clear.
Chaps, are you concerned? Do you have your sun outfit ready?
Oh yeah, if you don't
better
think
plan.
Oh, if you don't think I have a sun shirt ready to go, you're crazy. Because the last time we were there, I was so miserable.
Yeah,
like because of the heat. Like not the heat, but the
you
sun.
had a great time, but like yes,
right.
you were dying.
It takes so much out of you.
I constantly have to be vigilant. Like I feel like I'm a watcher of the night when I'm at in like a super sunny place like that. Like, oh, there's 2 feet of shade. Let me go hop in that. Like just hopping in and out of the shade.
Oh yeah. Spots. What are those spiders over in the Middle East to talk about that follow the shadows?
Wolf spider.
You're like a little wolf spider.
I am kind of like a wolf spider. Yeah. Thank you.
No, but you're right, because it's not like we just like go and stay in one place when we go. We're doing a lot, and staying busy and being out in the sun all day is tough on us fair skinned fellas.
Yep.
Can't wait.
The only thing I have is I'm worried about Baby Dale's weight. Because as you guys know, or you might not remember, when we first adopted Baby Dale, he was one of the hurricane puppies from Houston. When there was a big hurricane, a ton of dogs got misplaced, and he was one of those and survived by only eating bugs, is what the vet said, that he was a big bug guy. And when we first got him, he still wanted to eat bugs. Cicadas was his bug of choice.
Whoa.
So it is cicada apocalypse up here right now. This morning was the first morning, really. Like there was a couple yesterday, but today they're on the sidewalks. Baby Dale looked like he was in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Oh, gross. I'm going to vomit in my mouth.
He was just running all over. And Annalise goes, I don't know if I'm going to be able to walk him while this goes on, because he'll end up with a big old bug in his mouth.
I have goosebumps up my arms. No,
it's just like hundreds and hundreds of bugs, Kate, that he eats. He loves it. It's fine. Nothing to be alarmed about.
Fine.
Oh, that makes me the thought of what his shit looks like makes me want to vomit.
Just little eyeballs poking out of his dookie.
Right. Oh my god. Okay.
All right.
Oh, sorry. I guess when people listen to this upcoming, it will be Memorial Day weekend. So let's make it a point to take some time on Monday and just reflect. And
you'd think as the show we would.
Yeah.
I was so pumped up about the NASCAR race.
Oh my god!
And it's on Monday, right?
Yeah.
Like Memorial Day's on Monday.
Yeah. So I guess it kind of oh boy.
We should have said something earlier, Collins.
Probably should have said something
earlier.
Real
piece of shit. What a piece of work.
Oh.
Bad leadership on my part there.
I agree.
No, I think it goes without saying that.
Yeah.
That's always on our minds. Not even just this.
You don't need to recover.
But I am just saying, like, we should say something. I feel like, because for a military show, it's Memorial Day weekend.
Give us 10 minutes. Just go.
Okay. I will say, I think keeping in touch with my buddies in general, and this is always a good weekend if you've fallen out of touch with people to reconnect. And I think too, I am an overthinker. I get excited about things and I'm like, well, I don't want to bug people, blah, blah, blah. But I think the family and friends of the fallen always appreciate hearing from the troops that worked with them. Like, reach out to the families and say, hey, I'm thinking of you this weekend. I feel like that's always like just a nice thing to do. Because it's true. We are remembering them. And I know Chaps is looking at me.
I'm not looking. I was intently looking. I wasn't doing anything.
But I do. Every Memorial Day weekend, I feel like we all have our own kind of time. Even in Charlotte the last time, like, it is really moving.
Yeah.
Like, it is really moving and really special time. So I'm glad that we get to be around, our military brothers and sisters. But anybody having a tough time out there, you can always DM ZBT. Reach out to your friends. You're not alone. It can be a tough weekend for people. And also don't feel bad about enjoying this beautiful country that we have because of those people. So
I think that's a cool thing about this week, because we got to pick a name to go on one of the NASCARs, and I picked Chris, like my friend Chris Diaz that passed away and was killed in action in Afghanistan. And what with that getting put on there, somebody called and asked me questions about him, like how I knew him, how were we related, what happened to him, what kind of service person he was, and all that. And I thought, this is kind of perfect. Like, I get the chance to talk about Chris, bring up Chris and what he did and the kind of person that he was. And there's probably going to be Bud Light Limes that I could crush.
Yeah.
So it's like two of Chris's favorite things all at one time: the sun, drinking, and chilling with the boys.
Yeah.
And Kate.
And me.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry. I hope it doesn't seem like we do just get surprised by the dates all the time. We don't know where we are or what we're doing.
We're doing all right.
Okay.
I think you're overthinking it. Classic.
Yep.
Classic Catherine.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Southern Retreat.
What is wrong with us? How do